In this one, we are going to update our Django messages to have better formatting using Bootstrap's alerts. So Bootstrap's alerts is a component that we can use to just display the message a little bit better. As we see here, there's all kinds of messages that we can actually work with. So they're fairly straightforward and easy to do. So I'm going to go into our base.html again. And now in our nav bar, instead of putting our messages in a UL list like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into a div class called alert. And then we want to give the alert based on whatever the message is itself. So for now, I'm just going to say alert success. And we'll adjust that later. And I'm going to close off that. And then I'll do for message in messages. And we will have that list element still coming through and just leave it as that. And then inside of here, I'm actually going to add in a div class of container. And we'll see what that does in just a second. And then we'll close off that div. All right, so now let's go ahead and go back into our project. Let's go back. Let's make sure the server's running. And we go back in here, save and continue. And notice it's now showing it in a different formatted way, right? It's showing it so it's actually an alert that's making sense and working for us. So let's go ahead and inspect this element here on this alert. And what I see here is we have a little bit of an issue of spacing here. So let's look at the alert itself, and then the nav bar it has a margin top of 19. So what I want to do is when this alert shows up, I'm going to say a margin top of negative 19 pixels. So it fits or sits right up there. And to do this, I'm going to, just for now, I'm going to go in here and put it in the block styles of, give it an alert class of alert top message. And we'll say margin top equals to negative 19 pixels. And that only has to do with the padding that this nav bar has. We don't want to adjust the nav bar padding because it makes more sense to adjust the text or the alert settings versus the nav bar. Okay, cool. So now that we've got this, we can put this class inside of our actual class for this. All right, and then finally in this container, I'll do text center as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look and refresh in here. Let's go back, save and continue. And now our text is nice and centered, and it says your response has been updated successfully. So if we go back in, another thing that we could do is actually use these tags in a different way. So the first thing I want to do is I'll have these tags show up in a second. So I'm going to cut this and paste it here. I'm going to get rid of this being a list element, and I'm just going to add a line break after it. So if there's other messages, we'll just add a line break. So any more messages in this would show up. So this would happen if you had multiple occurrences of this specifically, right? So if I had multiple of those, then you would see multiple messages. But in this case, I really don't have any multiple messages, but I might want to do something with these tags. So the first thing that I would want to do is I want to check if what's called safe is in these tags. Then I want to show this message as being safe. So I'll say message safe, not messages, but message safe. All right, so what this is saying is if the message is safe to be displayed, then let's show it safe. But first, I'm going to leave it out as just the message. And of course, I'm going to change this to an else clause and then add end if afterwards. All right, so if it's safe, let's actually see what I mean by this. So if I jump back into the view and add safe into this message tag, that's a start. But then I also want to show, let's say, a line break. So I'm going to do a line break of HTML text in here, or a link. We could say a href equals to, I'm just going to make it a hashtag link right now and say hello. So if we actually had this, so we save it, let's go back in and now answer a question. What we see here now is this line break, and all this text is actually coming through as just the HTML code. It's not actually safe. It's not actually treating it as HTML code. So that's what safe does. The template tag, the template filter tag of safe, so that straight line and then safe, that actually will escape it and allow it to be HTML, an HTML text. So if we go back in here, save and continue, it now changes it to where it turns it into a link and it adds another line break. So that's what safe would do on the HTML tags itself. So it has literally nothing to do with these extra tags. We could call this ABC and then come in here. If ABC is in message tags, then make it safe. So this is just saying that whatever that message coming through is it's HTML safe. It can be used in any other template area where it would need to actually send HTML from a view to the template. You just add safe, and that will render it correctly. But in this case, we are sending HTML with this message text or this message variable. So that's actually what's coming through here, and adding that safe allows us to see that. So this is used definitely outside of this context of messages tags, just to make that clear. But I'm going to keep it in as extra tags so you can see that later. So now if we just save it, we hit save and continue, it says it's updated successfully. Perfect. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. If you have any questions on how we designed this and how it can work, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep going.